Good morning, everyone. It's March 13th, 2019. I'm Eric. 5 ways the Green New Deal exactly mirrors Agenda 2030. I know I've done a video recently regarding roughly the same topic, but I'm going to go ahead and cover it again because I cannot tell you how important these topics are, and it must be talked about again and again and again. This comes from Makia Freeman on a DC Clothesline. So, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. She submitted the Green New Deal proposal, and it reads more like a green fantasy wish list than a political bill. A political bill, just bill would have sufficed because it's not a political bill. It is a piece of legislation. So the so-called new or Green New Deal, which can be read here, promotes a broad utopian-like future where magically everyone gets all of their energy from non-polluting sources. Everyone has a high-paying job with paid vacations, and everyone has high-quality health care. And retirement security. It does not spell out how the United States government and its taxpayers are supposed to pay for all this. Even the name Green New Deal contains the phrase New Deal, which refers to the sweeping socialistic changes to U.S. law and society made in the 1930s by then U.S. President Roosevelt, which included starting the Social Security Administration, confiscating the gold of Americans, and substantially expanding the power and jurisdiction of the federal government. Now, let me get back to the confiscating of gold. Let's say, for the sake of argument, Donald Trump or the Trump administration wishes to confiscate the gold, people's personal gold and silver. The thing I really find disgusting about so-called law-abiding citizens, one of the things is the notion that I would be considered a criminal according to law-abiding citizens if I didn't just hand my property over to the feds, the government. And, what right do they have, and did they have, for that matter, to confiscate the gold of the American citizens during that time? What right do they have to confiscate your guns, anyone's guns, let alone an honest-to-goodness, law-abiding citizen, right? I mean, what right do they have? And more than that, how is it their business what you have in the first place? So the Green New Deal equals Agenda 2030. Ocasio-Cortez is just a naive poster woman for a sinister agenda about which she is ultimately clueless. She has been given an undue and exorbitant amount of media attention for a freshman congresswoman, and that's only 1 out of 435. Not because she's smart or unique, but because the people really pushing this agenda own the MSM, or mainstream media, and can dictate what the public focuses on. The truth is that the Green New Deal is just another incarnation of a far-reaching plan to bring about a one-world government via the United Nations, Agenda 2030, formerly known as Agenda 21. The global governance, as they like to call it, it is planned to be a worldwide totalitarian socialist dictatorship. There is nothing utopian about it. Below are 5 ways in which the Green New Deal very closely mimics the wording, aims, and targets of Agenda 2030. Similarity number 1. Green New Deal aims at changes being done by 2030. Agenda 21 was replaced by Agenda 2030, so-called because it contained a list of 17 goals and 169 targets that were to be achieved by the year 2030. Interestingly enough, the Green New Deal also aims at achieving its objectives by this date, as stated in the U.S. Green Party summary of it. And by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but the founder of Greenpeace has come out and pretty much said that this global warming, climate change is bullshit. Yes, it's changing, but we have very little to do with it. Similarity number 2, sustainable energy for all. The Green New Deal states that it is the duty of the federal government to meet 100% of the power demand in the United States through clean, renewable, and zero-emission energy sources. Goal 7 of Agenda 2030 states, ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. Now, I have to be honest here. It would be fucking great if we can scrap the nuke plants, if we can get rid of the need for fossil fuels, which there's handfuls of different inventions that have been suppressed because they don't use petroleum as a method of combustion. So the technology is there, and it would be really fucking nice, wouldn't it, for for you not to be breathing in GMO air. I mean, after all, it is corn, partially, anyhow, in the fuel for our vehicles, and, if we didn't need that internal combustion or gasoline, petroleum, we wouldn't be breathing in that GMO air, now would we? My Discord server just chimed. I'm going to try to quiet it down here. Sorry, Mike. I'm going to have to mute you for now. That is, if my computer cooperates with me. I'm going to have to make some room on here because I'm not... It's already muted. What the fuck? I'm not... My computer has not been running very well lately as a result of it being filled to the... as far as it can possibly fill. So, yes, it would be nice. I do agree with them on that end. It would be nice to have, you know, vehicles based on electromagnetic propulsion, and maybe hydrogen as opposed to GMO ethanol gasoline. Okay. Sustainable energy for all does sound great, but who's going to pay for it? What are we going to have to give up to get it? Privacy, autonomy? Can we only get this new sustainable energy if we move house into an approved area? You know, like a smart city megapolis, and submit to being on the grid 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with smart meters radiating us. Who granted the U.S. or UN the authority and jurisdiction to care for all their citizens like this? The more we allow these governing bodies to take responsibility for an aspect of life, the more power they assume. Similarity number 3. Climate change is a threat. And again, it is a threat. I'm not here to argue whether it's a threat or not. I'm here to argue the cause and the notion that we can do anything about it. The new Green Deal states on page 4 that climate change constitutes a direct threat to the national security of the United States. Goal number 13 of Agenda 2030 is to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. Notice the term keeps changing from man-made global warming to man-made climate change to simply climate change, to continue the charade. Of course, the climate is changing. It always has and always will. Most skeptics of anthropogenic global warming readily admit that the climate changes. The question is how much humanity is causing it. I would have wrote that a little bit different. The question is, what impact is humanity having? The point is also that it cannot scientifically be due to the minuscule amount of CO2 humanity emits. Note how both the Green New Deal and Agenda 2030 make sure to get the propaganda in that we must rally around saving the environment and submit to a NWO in the process as a side effect. The Green New Deal spares no exaggeration by saying that climate change will cause mass migration from the regions most affected by climate change and cost the U.S. $500 billion in lost annual economic output by the year 2100. It also blames climate change for wildfires that by 2050 will annually burn at least twice as much forest area in the western United States than was typically burned by wildfires in the years preceding 2019. However, the real reason for those lies elsewhere, like intentional setting by PG&E for some fucking reason. Similarity number 4. Millions of magical high-paying jobs. The Green New Deal proposes, number 1, to create millions of good high-wage jobs in the United States. Number 2, to provide unprecedented levels of prosperity and economic security for all people of the United States. While in Goal 8, Agenda 2030 wants to promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. And sounds great as well, but how? Who's going to organize and enforce all this? More government? Of course. Similarity number 5, central planning. For me, the word mobilization creepily and eerily denotes some kind of central military-like authority with the power to mobilize citizens like troops, treat people like human resources, order them around, and put them to work on whatever project or projects it sees fit. All for the greater good of the collective. As the article, the Green New Deal plus modern monetary theory equals socialism states. The The Green New Deal essentially calls for the conscripting American workforce and putting us to work in accordance with what the elite government planners want instead of what we the people want. They propose to replace our market economy in which privately owned businesses compete to see who can best supply the needs and wants of the people with a command economy which government is the master and citizens build what the planners say must be built. So the conclusion, Green New Deal smells like Agenda 2030. Now, I did a video yesterday sort of about that, about climate change, right? Sort of. So, something I forgot to mention in there. I mentioned the fact that they're using climate change as a justification to do all kinds of evil shit. And not too long from now, matter of fact, they're already beginning. They have begun. Well, they started with the infanticide, right? They've been euthanizing elderly people. And some even say that homeless people are disappearing and being murdered as well. And the deal with what they call man-made climate change is it's a justification to murder 7+ billion people for the good of the planet, for the greater good. Right? That's what it's about, and nothing else. It's about killing you so they can have the planet to themselves. Tell me, does that sound reasonable to you? Anyway, thought I would share this one with you. I hope you all have a great day. Till next time, kill the state before the state kills you.